Hi, I'm TWIMS. I'm standing here at Toyota Wessels Institute of Manufacturing Studies. Our focus is on manufacturing. We're providing the MBA and a postgraduate diploma. I'm going to introduce to you some of our former students.
The MBA program has taught me to know myself. There is this general word that we use or perspective that we use in terms of knowing thyself. And I think with me taking part in the program, I was able to understand myself, understand my biases, understand where I'm failing as a leader. And I think there's an element also that we generally talk about within the program was that what got you here, that does not necessarily take you there. And I think the program allows you to actually look at yourself holistically as an individual, then also look at yourself as a leader within the manufacturing space and really unpack that in terms of how do you drive change, not only within yourself as a person, but also to your employees. So I think that for me was bridging the emotional intelligence and obviously giving me that added knowledge in terms of my EQ also, because we network with different people and learn a lot of frameworks that we can apply within our context of manufacturing. So that's my takeaway. A good dancer knows when to step off the stage. That means as a leader, for me, is not always play the hero. How do you able to empower the members of your team to actually be the driving force of change? And I think, generally speaking, my self-discovery was that I wanted to be acknowledged. I wanted to be there, to be appreciated. And I think maybe that's one of my biggest learning curve. It was to actually step back and allow my team to actually be now the force of change and driving the collective decisions that it will be able to drive the organization to the next level. Therefore, I bring the notion that you need to know as a leader when to step back and how do we empower people to actually be more than what they are.
When you work in production, especially the production environment, the shop floor environment, Shandu, it's a rat race, right? there's always some emergency, there's always some putting out fires, etc. And you don't really make finding time to look at things on a macro level and leverage your networks because you're so busy. But I think post the MBA, it's given me this perspective. It's changed the way I look at things, the way I make my decisions, the way I enable my team to make decisions. So I prioritize making time to reach out to the network that I've built here during the 2 years. Most of us are in manufacturing, I think almost all of us. So you reach out and you sort of bounce ideas off them. What would you guys do? What do you think is the best way to do it? And how can I analyze this better and take my team forward and enhance my critical thinking and use, like Shandu did say, use the correct information. You can be in the flow of information, but are you using the correct information to make these decisions? And that sort of management skill, it's very hard. It's really very hard to gain. But when you're on this journey for 2 years with the diverse management styles and leadership styles and business models that you're exposed to and the information, I mean, there's a whole lot of information that's thrown at you in 2 years. You just change. It's impossible not to take that with you going forward. And that macro thinking, it's stuck with me. It's in my DNA now. It's just part of me, and it's what I use every day.
That's excellent. That's what we want to hear from our students.
Prof, I think let's just backtrack a little. So the MBA is demanding, for sure. You've got to put in a lot of hours. People tell you that upfront. And you say, yeah, okay, and I'm sure I can do it, and I can't do it, and I can do it. But when you're in there, it's very demanding. It requires a lot of hours. It requires, we did it in the middle of COVID. So we had this asynchronous learning that, was brought upon, and then we had to do Teams meetings, and we had to balance work and, like you said, family, and, the delightful mess, the treasured family mess that we all have to deal with. That's demanding on its own. And I actually had a baby in the second year of my MBA, so that was a delightful surprise as well, in the middle of everything, chaos. But I think if you're disciplined, if you're disciplined and it's something you really want, you will find the time, you'll find the balance, you'll be able to. You'll miss a lot of functions. You'll possibly, miss out on a lot of important milestones in your family along the way. You'll have to let go a little. I think what Shandu was trying to speak about was trust. You have to trust people at work to take on, your responsibilities when you're here, because we spend a lot of time in lectures. We spend a lot of time here after lectures, working as a syndicate. So you have to trust your team at work. That's really important. But your family support structure is really, in my opinion, what can make or break it. So you have to have that conversation up front with your family. Let them know what to expect. It shouldn't be a surprise. Let them know I'm going to be absent for the next 2 years. I'm here, but I'm not here. I'm not sure what theme is going to be used for the baby's party. I'm not sure, if we're going to do things on time this year. But you've got to trust. You've got to let them know. And I was very fortunate to have, I am very fortunate to have a partner who, supports and believes in my goals. And it's a team. We just became a stronger team. I'm sure he'll agree with that. He may not. It is stressful because as much as you think it's stressful, your family takes on so much of stress. They have to live with that for 2 years and everybody. But I think if you keep the end in mind throughout the journey, just keep the end in mind. Every time you're about to give up, every time you think this is too much, just remember that it's so worth it. The learning experience is so worth it. It's something I can't quantify, and that will keep you going. That will definitely keep you going and be worth it.
I think what I get out of your discussion here, it's really the concept of higher education is unity through diversity. We've got all the different ingredients of content, but participants as well with a diversity of portfolio. And I think this was where TWIMS comes to the fore, where we actually in a very small environment are bringing this diversity into a learning context that's safe, inclusive to the enhancements of management capabilities within the manufacturing sector. Which brings me to the research component of your MBA journey. It's a critical part with the MBA journey is the dissertation. Shandu, what was your research about and what did you learn from the research component?
Was the impact of complex leadership in empowering team innovation. I chose this topic because of the current environment of manufacturing, where we are faced with dynamically shifting issues. It's volatile, it's complex, and there's so many ambiguity. So it's therefore a requirement as leaders to empower team, and teams need to be able to be innovative. So I chose that topic in the manufacturing sector. And out of my research, I must admit I had a brilliant supervisor that actually guided me through the process of research. My learnings was that as a leader, with all the complexity that we are facing, the biggest takeaway is that we need to empower dialogue, where you do not work in isolation as a leader. By creating dialogue within your team, you are able to get more traction, you are able to get innovation, you are able to create an environment where innovation can happen. And it basically, you're looking at the facet of sense making. So as a leader, you're able to create sense within your team, storytelling, and basically you're enabling an environment where change can happen. So for me, it actually hit home because it is what I want to be as a leader, to empower my team to drive innovation. I mean, we're in the fourth industrial revolution. Without that, without the teams being with you, basically the manufacturing sector will be broken. So therefore, I focus on that topic.
And I think with the research part of this program, it gives the student, the delegate, the opportunity to investigate a particular area, but in a scientific manner. And also a safe way to be able to obtain tools and equip him or herself to be able to do the necessary research so that you can actually interrogate concepts, theories, and make it applicable to your workplace.
I think firstly, if you're thinking about it, then do it. Yes, don't think too much about it. Once that seed is planted, go ahead. I can't quantify the learning. It's too much. It's special. The journey is special. What you get out of it is so special. I can't quantify that, but what I can say is you won't regret it. And it's a lot of hard work, but with perseverance, it's doable, very doable. And, it's just something that if you're thinking about doing, go out there, do it. Speak to your family, get your support structures in place, make sure you have the buy-in of the people that you need around you to support you. And when you walk in here, just be humble. Be humble, be open to learning, be open to the fact that you actually don't know everything about the industry. You're going to learn so much more. And I think that will just create such a special experience for you.
Thank you, Danica. And, at TWIMS, we do strive to create the learning environment that is conducive for knowledge transfer. So, Shandu, what would you advise any prospective student to our campus?
I think, Prof, again, I would like to concur what Danica mentioned. Take the leap. And also, not only do it for yourself, but there's a social call for you to actually embark in learning, because you owe it to your family, you owe it to the country. South Africa desperately needs leaders that are capable to actually take the country to the next level. So by you taking the decision to go to school and to develop yourself, you're not only doing it for yourself, but for the country. And also your employees also, because they desperately need leaders that are capable of actually generating profit, generating growth, doing it for the country. So I think from my perspective is that if you're thinking about it, as Danica mentioned, do it. Yes, it's hard, but at the end of the day, you will not regret it because you will grow. And growth does not happen in a comfort zone. Growth happens under pressure. And out of the pressure, you're able to actually judge yourself that I'm actually capable. And I have that strength within me to actually drive change. So that's my advice that I would give anyone, to actually go ahead, do it. Yeah.
Well done. Thank you so much. I appreciate you guys, the time and the responses given here today. Thank you very much.